updates from Lebanon and the Eastern Mediterranean and beyond are very interesting for this month, I guess. So if we want to start with Lebanon, recent developments of the oil and gas sector. End of August, the exploration drilling had started in Block 9, and everybody is waiting for the results. So kind of we have 60 to 90 days, according to officials, to come up with the results of the drilling. Either there is no gas or oil, and that's normal, or there are like small quantities not able to exploit them and develop them, or I think like everyone in Lebanon is expecting for that news, announcement from Total as a main operator that there is a discovery and that discovery could be developed and gas could be produced from the Kana field in Block 9. So basically, if that gas is all in the Lebanese EEZ, automatically they apply the contract that had been signed between the Lebanese government and the three companies, Total as the main operator, Qatar Energy, and ENI. If that is a common reservoir, and there are like most likely that it is a common reservoir, then the Lebanese government had agreed with the US government that the maritime law, maritime agreement will apply, and therefore the maritime border agreement that was signed in October 2022 between Lebanon and Israel with the guarantee of the US says that Total will be in negotiations with Israel on the compensation scheme, and a financial agreement will be signed between Total and the ENI and Total and the Israeli government, which will allow for Total to really start exploration from the Lebanese side in Block 9. So this is basically what everyone is waiting from here till the end of the year. But at the same time, we have like three other developments. One is that the second licensing round will be closed soon in October 2, 2023. And let's see if there are like some interest from companies to come and work in offshore Lebanon. So we'll be waiting for that results, knowing that this has been postponed. This second licensing round has been postponed for many years, since 2019. So let's see if there will be some interest in companies to come and bid. So the other development is that the Lebanese government has signed a contract with seismic companies to do these geological seismic studies on Block 8. And Block 8 is close to Block 9. And that we think is because the Block 8, most of it was in the disputed zone, and Lebanon did not have any kind of data about like what could be the geology of Block 8. So now that Block 8 was liberated, kind of, according to the maritime border agreement, so the Lebanese government signed a contract with the company to do the seismic surveys, and for the results to come out, at least for the Lebanese to be aware of what is beneath Block 8. And Block 8 is, as we said, so close to Block 9, so on the maritime border with Israel and with Cyprus. So the third development in that is the Sovereign Wealth Fund law. So there is a draft law these days, but we're waiting for the parliament to meet so that that law passes on to the parliamentarians to approve it or to discuss it more or to send it back to the committees to study it. So that Sovereign Wealth Fund law is about all the revenue should go into the Sovereign Wealth Fund and managed by the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and so that it helps grow the economy in Lebanon. So that's when it comes to the Lebanese development. We're all waiting for these. When we come on the regional Eastern Mediterranean updates, if we want, interesting that we've seen what's happening, I guess, like always linking it to Europe and the Russia-Ukraine war, if we want, because since the Russia-Ukraine war, we've seen more of dynamism from oil companies in the Eastern Mediterranean. definitely the MOU that had been signed between EU and Egypt and Israel is still like the main MOU that was signed directly after the Ukraine-Russia war, and we've seen since then that Egypt had been having difficulties in its economy, and they kind of used the gas and exporting more gas and mostly to European destinations so that they can make more revenues. But at the same time, we've seen that during summer, the local consumption becomes more important, and therefore Egypt gas was not able to serve the Europeans. And only the Israeli gas, because there is extra capacity there, can serve the Europeans. And that's what we're seeing. So that's the direct, if we want, consequences of what we've seen after the signing of the MOU between Europe and Egypt and Israel. Because as we know, in the Eastern Mediterranean, Israel and Egypt are the only ones that are developing and producing gas. Cyprus is not, Lebanon is not. Yes, Cyprus and Lebanon have felt the consequences, the kind of positive consequences, because Lebanon was managed to really sign a deal on the maritime border and relaunch its activities of oil and gas after a long period of stagnation. Same for Cyprus. There were more interest, and Aphrodite is going maybe to come online after the government of Cyprus and the companies agree on the development plan. So, but we've seen some kind of dynamism. But it is important to say that those who already produce in the Eastern Mediterranean will benefit the most. And because of the problems Egypt is facing economically and about capacities, we see that Israel will continue to be the most benefiting from this in the future. But it's a short future, because as we know, yes, the one lesson that Europe had learned is that this crisis, the Ukraine-Russia crisis, and becoming less dependent on the Russian gas, has pushed them more into renewables and more into fast-tracking the energy transition. That's why whoever in the region wants to build their policies around oil and gas, especially with Europe, they need to make sure that they understand how short the opportunity is. So at the same time, yes, as we said, those who now are producing, they might get the benefits, because we know that Europe today has announced that it has been able to cover the storage up to 90%, and they might be safe this winter again, but that will depend on how cold the winter will be, and that will depend how much of LNG will the Asian market use, because we know that the Asian market is one of the biggest markets in LNG consumption. So how much all these factors will say if Europe is safe or not, but Europe knows that it cannot keep on going from one dependence to another, because even if today the US is the one providing gas to the Europeans and is able to provide again gas to the Europeans, but they know that they cannot continue relying on them. And the way to get out of these dependencies is on renewables, and this is what they're working on, and on the energy transition, and on the path that they have taken last year that was successful. They want to continue it. And when we say the American LNG, it's not the government, so it's about companies, and companies look to who's going to pay more for that LNG. So that rush could, again, if there is a rush and demand, high demand, and the higher payer, the one that pays higher will get the product, that could put Europe into troubles. But let's wait and see how this will form. So the last point, I guess, with our developments from the region, from the Middle East and especially Eastern Mediterranean, it's the G20 announcement, very important announcement that came from the G20 members, and the establishment of the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. That we will see a huge connectivity project with railways and pipelines for clean energy, pipelines for data, all of that. So one thing that we've learned from that is like the region is starting to de-link politics from economy. And the clear message for us in the region is like, for those who want to keep on focusing on politics, on historical grievance, and will not focus on the connectivity that is happening, they will not have a place in the future of the economy and the future economies in the world. And that's a sign for us, like Lebanese, Syrians, Cypriots, other people in the region, that that we might miss an opportunity if we're stuck only in politics. So I think this new economic corridor that is linking India to the Gulf countries, to Jordan, to Israel, and then to Europe, that's the huge big thing that is going to shape our region in the name of connectivity. And even Ursula von der Leyen on her speech on September 13, 2023, she said, like, this is a project about faster, shorter, cleaner economies. So this is how we have to think in our region to get benefits from the economic benefits, being it energy, trade, or whatever benefits are coming to our region. So I guess like these are the major developments that we've seen for this period.